Hi guys, Sean Malone here with Dennis from Awakened Generation. We've been running on the ground here. We're way out east at Slaviansk. So we're essentially out on the front lines. This church here, very interesting place. Great connections with the prayer movement back in Kansas City, and just great heart for serving people in the midst of this. And this became an evacuation center in the very early days that you were working in as well.
Our teams are coming here all the time. There's always teams coming circling out to get as much people out as possible. This was the safe zone where all the areas around were being occupied. This was at one point, there was about from 15 kilometers away, which is about 10 or so miles out. The Russian forces were coming in, and people were coming out from the 100. Droves are coming in, and teams are taking people out. At this point now, we also didn't only just bring food and aid and support, we also brought a bunch of kids, and today there's going to be about 250 local kids who are still living in this area that are getting Christmas presents. And so we're getting
these
able
backpacks. We have more backpacks. We brought them all the way out to the front lines. It's going to be beautiful. Yeah, so it was really interesting too what the pastor was explaining. Like he might go away for a week to go to another part of the country. He'd come back, and the whole congregation was a completely different set of new believers.
They have 700 member church. Almost all of them left. There's about 15 people left here, and once everything all started, there's about 300 people that gather here every single week, brand new. I mean, their knowledge is at zero. They preach the simple gospel, and people are coming every week. There's no worship band, so they turn on the projector screen and they just worship the Lord, and people are hearing the good news.
But one of the things I wanted to share with you guys is what the pastor was telling us this morning, that they feel like they are caught in the middle between communism and between the liberal ideals of the West, and both are coming, and they're standing for truth and for righteousness, and it's more than a natural battle. This is a huge spiritual battle for this territory, and they say that Ukraine is really the Bible Belt of Europe, and you have believers here standing for the gospel. The harvest is coming in, but guys, we need to continue to pray, continue to support these guys in the midst of this. And one of the other things, I just was going to say this as well, they're all heartbroken right now because even some of our conservative news media back home is beginning to buy into a pro-Russian narrative that's saying, Ukraine's the bad guy and this and that. And the church here, they can't understand why the conservative news companies who typically embrace the church are suddenly turning against Ukraine, and they're saying it's all lies.
Yeah, we were sitting in a meeting today with two of the leading bishops in this whole area who've been active here since 2014 and have mobilized hundreds and hundreds of missionaries. I mean, there's been hundreds of church plants done in this area alone. Where prior to the war, I mean, this was a place that had very little churches, and now there's, many cities have missionaries that have been trained here and sent down, so they have a good scope of what's going on. And we sat down with them, and they're talking, and they shared how grateful they are for the support that's come from Europe and from America, and how they want to build enduring relationships. But the conflict that they're finding themselves in is that this aid that is coming in is also coming with an agenda and with the pressure to adopt liberal values. And this has always been a very conservative country, a very Christian country, and they have always been more Republican. Many of the immigrants that have come into America have always been more sided with conservative values. And so now with this media shift that's coming against Ukraine and bringing a more pro-Russian agenda, and it's really almost a copy-paste of what the Russian propaganda is saying. They don't know what to do with that. And so they want the truth to come out. Also, they want people to understand that they are for Christian values. And so what they're saying is that in the same way that Ukraine is a buffer between what was post-communism and the liberalism of the West, the same way that the church now is playing the role between of bringing that type of traditional value to say, we are thankful for your help, we want your support, but we want to stay rooted in who we are and the values that are in the scriptures.
Guys, it's an epic battle of the last days for sheep nations and the great harvest. It's absolutely incredible. We're going to be coming back. We've set up 3 or 4 different locations in key cities to come back and do equipping, to help equip the church for crisis response, help them with compassion fatigue, grief, loss, trauma, and just spiritual equipping for the harvest for the long haul. And then today we're going to be going out to the front lines to go deliver resources to soldiers and to communities who have been recently liberated. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for your prayers.
Thank you so much.
valuable the resources are. They are literally sweeping it out of the back of the trailer, the stuff that got spilt out of the bags. So just speaks to the need that's actually here. This is where the need is, guys. We need teams out here. Come help. Just bring extra heavy gloves.
And the weather's very balmy.
Yeah.
So
Quite the warm.
make sure to bring your bathing suit and sunblock.